So the 2022 NFL free agency has been pretty damn eventful. Top players at their position switching teams and immediately shifting the balance of power in the NFL. Teams going from pretty good up and coming to, bro, how much cap space can they possibly have? Couples getting divorced and old friends getting back together. Some teams are falling apart, while others are plugging up holes to help them reach their true potential. Last night I posted a poll asking if you guys wanted to see a free agency video or the what happened to video that I just finished. And I gotta be real, this poll wasn't very helpful at all, damn near 50-50. But actually that's not true, it was helpful, it let me know. People wanted both, so you know what? I'm gonna give you both, baby. So I'm putting this video together on the morning of the 18th. I'm hoping to drop it tonight. And I got a brand new What Happened To video, highly requested one, that's gonna drop next week. Now, obviously I can't cover every single move and every single team in this one video, but I asked y'all what you thought the biggest and best moves were through the first week of free agency, and I'll be using your answers as a guide as to what to cover in this vid. But bro, this free agency has been an extremely fun one, and the crazy part is, we're only 1 week in. So this is what happened in week 1 of the 2002 NFL free agency. Cue the Wayne.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
This wasn't originally a part of the video, so I started the original video off, and you'll actually see the majority of it as I recorded it. I'm just gonna cut out the Deshaun Watson stuff, and I'll redo the Browns section right now. The Cleveland Browns, man. I'm so sick of the Browns. Like, when it comes to making splash plays, the group chat's going crazy. When it comes to making splash plays in free agency, I gotta give it to the Browns, bro. They do a damn good job. Like, I remember a few years ago when they landed OBJ, I was heated. And now, here we are. The Cleveland Browns have landed Deshaun Watson, the big fish, okay? Now, we were told that the Browns were completely eliminated from contention. And, you know, we were happy. I was happy about that because I don't want to play against Deshaun Watson twice a year. But nonetheless, he goes to Cleveland, all right? He originally told them no, but then they made him an offer that nobody can refuse. Bro, in the NFL, okay? In the NFL, this does not happen. The Cleveland Browns have signed Deshaun Watson to a 5-year, $230 million contract. And bro, every single dime of it is fully guaranteed. 230 fully guaranteed. I want to be angry with Deshaun because you said it was eliminated. But then, hey man, they offered you 230 mil, 100% guaranteed. Nobody's turning that down. Like, if he would have turned that down, I would have been mad at him then. You know what I'm saying? So in my original opening, I'll talk about how the AFC West is now the best division in football. But now that Deshaun has landed, you gotta rethink that a little bit. And I've rethought it, and I do still feel like the AFC West is the best because I feel like all 4 teams are a bit stronger right now. And the only thing about the AFC North, I'm not sold at all on Mitch Trubisky. But you have Joe Burrow, who was just in the Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson, former MVP, and Deshaun Watson. Before his whole situation, he was considered like a top 2 quarterback under 25 at that time. He's over 25 now, but it was him and Patrick Mahomes at one point before his whole situation popped off. And now you're looking at that Browns roster once again, and it's looking pretty damn good once you throw Deshaun Watson on the team. Now, I do want to be a little bit empathetic towards Baker because they just kind of threw him away. But, you know, you get an opportunity like this. I didn't like how they did it, and I thought their chances of landing Deshaun were pretty damn small. But, you know, he sat back and he looked at the rosters. He was like, I can go to Atlanta, I can go to the Saints, or I can go to the best roster out of all the teams that are available. And that's what he's done, man. So the AFC North, we back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we back, you know? And I ain't gonna lie, I'm disappointed because I wanted to be able to pull for Deshaun, right? Y'all know Two of my favorite college quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. Kind of hard to pull for them when they play for division rivals. Another one of my favorite quarterbacks, though, is Joe Burrow. He's on my team, so we good. But I will say, man, this right here, this is going to bring the best out of everybody in division. Because, you know, you thought the Browns were about to implode. I mean, they were literally, I mean, dude, they go for a miracle play. Throwing a Hail Mary for Deshaun Watson. They completed. So hats off to the Browns, bro. They pulled it off. How pissed off are the Falcons and the Saints? And, bro, the NFC, now that Deshaun Watson not going over there, like, we almost need, like, a rebalancing. Like, what's happening? Everybody, with the exception of Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, and Kyler Murray, if you want to count him, everybody else in the AFC. This is going to be a crazy season. Like, the NFL as a product, and they so lucky. Oh, my God. Like, the dudes that run it. But to be fair, they've kind of created this infrastructure for all of this stuff that happened. And now that it's happening, it's nuts. So, you got the AFC West, you got the AFC North, bro. We still here. We are still here. So Deshaun Watson over there with the Browns, man. Congratulations to the Browns. AFC North gonna be lit this year. It is. As excited as I was about the AFC West, bro, the AFC North. Like, we back and we coming. But yeah, that's it, man. Just the quick instant reaction. Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns. Damn. Well, back to your regular schedule video. So let's start with the new best division in the NFL. On paper, at least. The AFC West is looking pretty damn scary, bro. And they was good last year, but through just 1 week of free agency, and these dudes are honestly kind of starting to look like 4 NBA super teams. And that's definitely not a bad thing if you're a fan of another team. It basically just gives us more entertaining football to watch. And I can sit here and say that with a straight face, because my team, the Cincinnati Bengals, played the AFC West last year, so it ain't my problem, at least not into the playoffs. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs have been in the driver's seat of this division since Pat Mahomes stepped into the starting role back in 2018. And while there's a whole lot of time left, through 1 week of free agency, the Chiefs haven't really made any substantial moves. Sure, they picked up Justin Reed, who's a really good safety, and while he's younger than Tyrann Mathieu, who they let go, I don't know if he's actually a better player at this point in his career. Tyrann created more turnovers last year, had more tackles, and even though some people hate when you bring this up, he also had a higher PFF grade. And while I'm not a Chiefs fan, we did play them twice, and I was told, mostly by Chiefs fans, that Tyrann Mathieu was the guy who lined everybody up, you know, basically the quarterback of that defense. So him being gone could be a big deal, but I honestly think Justin Reed may be able to step into that role, and he's younger, he's a little faster, a little quicker, and in that aggressive Chiefs defense, he may actually reach his potential. Still, outside of that, the Chiefs lost their young corner, Javarius Ward. He went over to the 49ers. They lost a little bit of speed too with Pringle going to Chicago, something I think they can easily replace and maybe even for a better player. And since the time of me originally recording this, the Chiefs have also added ex-Steelers receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, which I do believe is a good signing for them, as he offers a skill set at the receiver position that they honestly did not have. So they may add an extra element to their offense to somebody who's not just fast other than Travis Kelce, but I still don't know if that's enough to move the needle. But it just doesn't seem like the Chiefs have done much to make sure they maintain their dominance of the AFC West, especially considering how good the rest of that division is getting. But for now, the Chiefs are the champs, and they are bringing back all of their key pieces to a team that was 12-5 last year and 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Now, with that said, it's a lightning storm coming, and I ain't gonna lie, it seemed like Zeus himself is involved. This team going crazy in the offseason. The Chargers already have a good young quarterback in Herbert, who's got a perennial Pro Bowler, Keenan Allen, at wide receiver. Plus, they got one of the better tools in the game in Mike Williams, who they just re-signed to a nice contract. And before I even get into that defense, bro, I gotta point this out real quick. As an XFL fan, I love the fact that they brought back tight end Donald Parham and they tendered Storm Norton. Parham had that scary concussion last year, so good to see he's okay and back with the squad. You know, that's what's up. Now, also, they re-signed Jalen Guyton. And it's just wide receiver depth for them, although he does have a role in the offense. But I bring him up because I remember him being a dog for me back in the day when I had my NCAA franchise going. I did one with North Texas, and I honestly never forget those players, bro. They sprinkled throughout the NFL. But like I said, the Chargers offense was pretty much already set last year. It's the defensive side of the ball. That's where they went all in free agency. They got the top corner in the free agency class with JC Jackson and traded for one of the best edge rushers in the game with Khalil Mack. They pair him with Joey Bosa, and don't forget they already had Derwin James, one of the top safeties as well. So there's really no reason why they shouldn't have one of the top defenses in the league and one of the top offenses in the league. Good young quarterback, good receivers, great pass rush duo, and some beast in the secondary. So a hell of an offseason for the Chargers so far, and from the outside looking in, they seem like they've closed that gap between them and the Chiefs. Now I understand that the head-to-head matchups between the Chargers and the Chiefs have been pretty much 50-50 over the last couple of years, but the Chargers have yet to get into the postseason with Herbert at the helm, even though it's to no fault of his own. Facts is facts. The Chiefs meanwhile have been either winning Super Bowls, in Super Bowls, or just missing Super Bowls. But like I said, this looks like the type of offseason that'll bring those teams closer together, or maybe even the Chargers surpass them, maybe. And I want to say, I kind of like what's going on in the NFL right now, because you're seeing teams kind of build their squads in different ways. You'll see a team like my Bengals build mostly through the draft. Then they'll fill holes in free agency with those really good, like maybe not tier 1, but tier 2 players in free agency. But then you got teams like the Chargers and Rams who just go out and say, hey bruh, they dropped the bag, you know? And they both work, but the difference between the Chargers and the Rams is that the Chargers were able to hit on their quarterback in the draft. So that's what kind of separates them. So they hit on the key position in the draft, and now they're willing to spend all this money. Guys want to play there because they got a good quarterback and they're in LA. So if you're a Chargers fan, you got to feel pretty damn good right now. Now the Broncos, let's be honest. The Broncos ain't really been a threat since Peyton Manning back in 2015. And bro, the franchise has put solid talent out on the field. But bro, for some reason, they just can't scout a quarterback unless he didn't already play like 10 years in the NFL. And like I said, the last time they had a good one, it was a guy who was already a stamped Hall of Famer before he ever set foot into their building. But now with them going out and grabbing Russell Wilson, I'm pretty sure Broncos fans have got to be hoping for a similar effect, because the last time y'all did this, you won a Super Bowl. Now they got some talented receivers in Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, right? But look bro, since the Broncos haven't had a good QB in a while, I haven't really been watching them. And for that reason, I'm not very familiar with Tim Patrick. But as I'm just looking through the receiver core, I'm like, bro, who the hell is this dude? 6'4", 6'5", ran a 4.47 back in 2018, and he seems to have developed really nicely recently in his career. The last 2 years, dude has been really productive, averaging around 50 catches, 740 yards, and 5 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. And if you follow this channel, you know I'm a fan of the kind of slept on or underrated players. I'm like the YouTube mixtape king. It's just something I gravitate towards. So Tim Patrick, bro, I like him. I like him to have a breakout year with Russell Wilson. Now, Jerry Jeudy needs to take a step, but he was hurt last year after having a solid rookie year. But you gotta remember, dude is just gonna be 23 years old when the season starts, so he's not even close to reaching his potential. So of course, Broncos fans are hoping that maybe Russ could kind of speed that along, because you got guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase just drop into the league and go crazy. Now Sutton had a breakout year back in 2019, but he struggled a bit last year after missing most of 2020 with an injury. So imagine all 3 of those dudes playing with by far the best quarterback they've ever played with. And I don't even know who they got at running back, but just based off that alone, don't sleep on the Broncos offense. And also, I've been hearing a lot about this tight end y'all had behind Noah Fant. Again, I don't know much about him, but I'm very, very excited to see what that's looking like. Now on the defensive side of the ball, they was already really good last year with Patrick Surtain Jr. in them, and they made a big time pickup with Randy Gregory. I'm talking about straight stole him from the Cowboys. So Randy Gregory was believed to be headed back to Dallas, and dude's been through a lot with that organization, like through failed drug tests and having to get reinstated into the league at one point. So everybody just assumed he was staying in Dallas. Then when they offered him a 5-year, $70 million contract, it was reported that they had a deal, and Dallas social media accounts even posted saying dude was coming back. Oh, but then, what, 2 hours later? Because of some details in the contract and based off what I've read, the contract language was an issue for Randy and his agent. See, the Cowboys use something called salary forfeiture language in pretty much all of their players' contracts. And the most bare basic explanation of it is, it means that a player can forfeit a portion of their salary if he's fined by the NFL, presumably for anything. And a player with Randy's history, dude wasn't too fond of that, which is fair considering the fact that the league will hand out fines for pretty much anything. And I noticed that once you kind of get a track record, they can be extremely biased with who they fine and who they don't. We all know this. We've seen Tom Brady do things where he probably should have been fined. We've seen other players do things where they absolutely shouldn't have been fined. That's the human bias side of it that goes into it. And I damn sure wouldn't want any of my money being potentially forfeited based on something that is extremely shaky and inconsistent. Now again, this is apparently standard for Dallas, but Randy wanted it out of his contract, and when the Broncos offered basically the exact same deal, presumably without that clause in there, he decided to take his talents to Denver. Extremely tough loss by the Cowboys, but a hell of a pickup by the Broncos. And bro, it's right on time as they're now in this competitive ass division. Like, that was a big signing for them. And they also got DJ Jones from the 49ers, stout defensive tackle coming off a career year. Now, the move that just stunned everybody last night, Davante Adams leaving Aaron Rodgers and going to play with Derek Carr. So he reunites with his former college quarterback, a trend that the Bengals definitely started when we took Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell 5th overall last year. You then saw a couple of other teams follow suit and do the same in the draft, and now it's starting to seem like we're gonna see this a lot more in the NFL going forward. It's always made sense, but for whatever reason, teams just never would do it. So the Raiders just got who many consider to be the best wide receiver in the league. And bro, all they had to give up was a first and a second round pick. Cool. And that whole situation with the Packers is kind of a weird one. People don't question their front office nearly as much as they should. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next section. But apparently, even after signing Aaron Rodgers, the Packers still had enough money to offer Davante a bigger contract than what the Raiders offered him. Yet and still, he chose the Raiders. And just given the success that he and Aaron Rodgers have had, and given the fact that the Packers offered more money, that's saying a whole lot, bro. He really wanted to get up out of there. Now, the Raiders also picked up Chandler Jones, beastly edge rusher, to pair with Max Crosby, who they just extended. They also grabbed Anthony Avery from the Ravens, solid young corner, and they made a few other moves, but I just can't get over the Davante Adams thing. Pretty damn crazy, bro. So now they have arguably the best receiver in the league, one of the top 2 tight ends in the league, and you know, Hunter Renfro's a pretty good slot receiver as well. 100 catches last year, over 1,000 yards. All that to pair with Derek Carr, who's one of the most slept on quarterbacks in the league. And I think it's because he's kind of a weird player. And what I mean is, like, people don't even understand the traits that he has. He's got a crazy strong arm, but you don't always see it. He's way more athletic than people think. Like, dude got wheels, but he run kind of funny. His helmet is the safest available, but it doesn't really look pleasing to the eye. But I tell you what, man, the dude is as solid a leader as I've seen at that position. And I feel like he has stretches where he looks like an elite player. But maybe now with Davante Adams in there, you know, that he stretches that thing out for a whole season to look like that. The Raiders, man, like, people don't realize the Raiders are one of the 2 AFC West teams to actually make the playoffs last year. It wasn't the Chargers, and you know it wasn't the Broncos. It was the Raiders, and that was with all the turmoil they had going on with the whole John Gruden email thing. They had the Henry Ruggs situation. I think they lost their other first-round pick, and I've really grown to appreciate a quarterback who can help navigate a team through that type of turmoil. Because a little bit later in this video, I'm gonna get to a quarterback who has not been able to do that. Now, I'm actually super curious to see what Davante looks like without Aaron Rodgers. And I'm honestly even more curious to see what Aaron Rodgers looks like without Davante. I'll get to that in a second. Bro, the last time Davante played with Derek Carr, these are the numbers he was putting up. Okay, so he was beasting out with this dude in college. Now today, Davante is a whole different beast with how he's developed in the NFL. And the exact same thing goes for Derek Carr, so I can't wait to watch. Now, I saved the Raiders for last of the AFC West team so that I can easily transition into the Packers, but honestly, I've said mostly everything I wanted to say about the Packers already. But I will say this, just a few years back, the Packers were 1 game away from the Super Bowl. And I'll never get over this, man. They very, very clearly, like plain as day, they needed a second receiver. Everybody could see it. Everybody knew it. They went into the richest wide receiver draft in years and drafted a backup quarterback. My jaw hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And there was people on Twitter defending this move. I remember it like it was yesterday. There were people in the mainstream media defending this move because, oh, it's the Packers. Now, it worked out for teams like the Bengals and the Colts because T. Higgins was sitting right there. He was right there for the taking. Like, can you imagine T. Higgins in that Packers offense that very next season, right? What was that, 2019 or 2020? One of those. Put T. Higgins opposite Davante Adams. Bro, T. Higgins was the #1 receiver on the Bengals in year 1 and finished with just under 1,000 yards. And that's only because he got hurt and didn't play in the last game of the season. Michael Pittman over there in Indianapolis, beast. If they make that pick, I really believe these last few years of Packers drama and all this stuff just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. But also the Bengals Super Bowl run doesn't happen, so you know what? Thank you. But ever since then, it seemed like things in Green Bay have just been slowly falling apart. I'm talking about being barely held together by the glue that was Rodgers to Adams. Aaron Rodgers wants to retire. He wants to play for another team. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Then you finally get A-Rod locked in for 4 years and you turn right around and immediately trade Davante Adams. It's insane to me. Now, again, it's very clear that Davante Adams wanted out, but that's most likely only because of all the stuff that has transpired since you took Jordan Love. And I feel so bad for Jordan Love, bro. He's just stuck in this situation to no fault of his own. But again, it's only week 1 of free agency. Things can change fast in the NFL. Maybe the Packers got another couple of cards to play. I mean, we know that they can deal Jordan Love, and I'm assuming that they will. But what do they get back? And if it's a pick, what do they turn those picks into? We shall see. Now, I want to stay in the NFC for just a second, even though the AFC has been stealing all the headlines recently. Now, this actually happened before free agency, but it affected free agency. And that is the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, unretiring. And before I even jump into it, I gotta say this, man. It seemed like Bill Belichick and them are still Tom Brady fans because they just gave him a guard for free. But anyway, Brady came back and they grabbed a solid wide receiver in Russell Gage from Atlanta, made another couple of moves, then locked Godwin in for a 3-year deal, so that's cool. And we all know they're probably gonna get another couple of these older free agents, like maybe a Julio, and Gronk will probably go back, things like that. But the Tom Brady move in itself is just a huge move for the Bucs, and the NFC right now is not looking crazy competitive. Now, you've got the Super Bowl champion Rams, who just added yet another weapon in Allen Robinson. And that may actually be a little bit of insurance because when you think about it, they got OBJ and Robert Woods both coming back off ACL injuries. Matter of fact, they actually haven't even signed OBJ back as of yet. I'm just assuming he's going back there. Like I said, the Bucs are back. The 49ers are always there. I want to see what Trey Lance has got. Then it was like maybe the Cardinals, but they got so much drama going on. Although D-Hop will probably be on a revenge tour against no one this year, but still he gonna just be mad and going off because he D-Hop. But anyway, when Brady came back, like, there were a lot of tremors that were felt throughout free agency. For example, my Bengals are a team that were affected. We actually had very strong ties to center Ryan Jensen, but when Brady came back, he hopped on the phone, called up Jensen, and talked him in the stand. But what he didn't know was that while he was on the phone with Jensen, my boy Joe Shiesty was calling up his guard, Alex Kappa. Bro, I'm talking like 3 minutes into the tampering period. It was like, boom, Bengals signed Alex Kappa. I was like, great, yes. So Kappa was obviously a huge get for my team. He's nasty, he's tough, he a dog, he a Super Bowl champion, and he's just 27 years old. Everybody in the whole world know the Bengals need offensive line. Like, everybody know that. So we get Kappa, that's cool. But then we double back and get another guy who used to block for Brady in New England. And that would be Ted Karras or Karras, I think it's Karras. But anyway, he just turned 29. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. And he's another one. He's mean, he's gritty, he's tough, and he's a dog. And he's actually good at blocking. Like, I'm thinking that that's going, when I say nasty and mean and tough, I'm thinking that that goes along with it. But these dudes are actually good at blocking the dude in front of them. These 2 cats alone, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, If we had just these two players in our exact same roster from last year, put us in that exact same Super Bowl, we win that game. Straight up and down, just like that. The interior of the Bengals offensive line has by far been the biggest problem. So I'm extremely happy to have already addressed center and one of the guard spots. Now we also, as of the time of me recording this, we have La'el Collins from the Cowboys. Bro, this ain't a drill, dog. Right tackle, borderline Pro Bowler at his best at least. He's in Cincinnati, he's visiting. We need to close this deal, man. We do. If we do that, like, honestly, the sky is the limit for this offense. I mean, imagine Joe Burrow having time to go through his reads and not having to make magic happen every play just for the offense to go. Imagine Joe Mixon not getting hit in the backfield every other run play. Imagine Jamar Chase being this open, but Joey just having that extra second to throw the damn ball. The Bengals free agency was simple. Sign at least 3 new starters on the offensive line, and we can keep Jonah Williams and potentially Quentin Spain. That's the left tackle and the left guard. Spain might have to play right guard, whatever. You know, we have a tackle and we have an interior lineman. We've now just signed 2 more interior linemen. We got to get that other tackle though. Once we do that, we technically could double back and go and get like Treader, who got released. But you know, maybe I'm playing Madden at this point. We had to re-sign one of BJ Hill or Larry O. Larry O has the bigger name, but BJ Hill was actually the more consistent player for us, so I think we made the right decision. BJ Hill is the big dude on the D-line who get the random interceptions and tip passes and sacks, and he just make big plays, bro. And he make big plays on top of being good in the run game and on top of just being consistent, you know? It's not like he disappeared, big play. It's like consistent, big play. You feel me? And real quick, man, this came up while I was editing this video, and Larry O, bro, he failed his physical over in Chicago. And it actually sucks, man. It actually really sucks, man. I like Larry O. You're gonna hear my thoughts on Uzomah. I was a little more hurt by Uzomah leaving, even though I understand he gotta get paid. You'll hear my thoughts on it in a second. But with Larry O, it was kind of understood. We didn't draft him. He wasn't homegrown. He came in on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he proved it, you know? He did everything that you would want a player in that position to do for the team. And so Larry O got a lot of love in Cincinnati, and especially for me, man. He was one of my favorite players on the team last year. So I'm putting myself in his position, bro, and I cannot imagine, man. $40 million. You know what I'm saying? You do the prove-it deal, you go through the whole season, you get your $40 million offer, then you fail your physical, and the Bears immediately sign somebody else. So, man, shout out to Larry O. Hopefully he can land on his feet. He may even end back up with the Bengals, but I know that's a hard pill to swallow, losing all of that money, man. Damn. We had to re-sign playoff Jesse Bates. We franchise tagged him. That works. And a couple other re-signings. Now, we lost CJ Uzomah, who was, you know, the heart of the team last year, man. And I ain't even gonna lie to you. Y'all know I understand players getting their money. I'm for it. I understand it. I've talked about it endlessly. It hurt me when he went to the Jets. It hurt me. I ain't gonna stunt. But with that said, you will never hear me say a bad word about CJ. I have no ill feelings toward him. I'm just mad. Like, come on, dog. You know what I'm saying? We need you, bro. I don't know, bro. It's complicated. But we were able to pick up Hayden Hurst. Now, I wanted Gerald Everett. I still kind of want Gerald Everett, but I do like that Hayden Hurst signing, and we got him for like $3.5 million, which is about half of what Uzomah got to go to the Jets. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, Bengals Twitter haven't been real high on Hayden Hurst, but I will not be surprised at all if Hayden Hurst has that breakout year like Uzomah had last year, just playing in our offense. I think he's a better natural receiver, not as good of a blocker. And Uzomah is a good receiver too. So it ain't like Uzomah just not good at receiving at all. I'm just saying, I think Hayden Hurst has a real opportunity, man, in our offense. Because you got to remember, he got drafted by Baltimore, but that same year they took Mark Andrews. And Hayden Hurst was good, but Mark Andrews emerges. Then he goes to Atlanta, has a really good season. Actually, his first season in Atlanta, I believe, was better than CJ's season last year. But then what happens the next year? Atlanta is sitting there and Kyle Pitts is on the board. We took Jamar Chase, so boom, they take Kyle Pitts. Like Hayden Hurst can't catch a break. His production and targets go way down last year. Now we get him on a bargain. So I'm actually pretty excited about that signing. I think it might be a little bit slept on, but I still wouldn't be mad if we brought in Gerald Everett, man. Now, as far as our competition in the division, I hate when people hate on Lamar Jackson. I really do. Like, do not come to me with that Lamar, the running back talk, and none of that dumb shit, bro. And I'm dead serious about that. Like, I'm a fan of Lamar, even though he played for a rival team. I liked him before he went to that team, meaning I liked him in college because he got drafted by that team, in case somebody out there is confused. People also have to remember the Ravens were decimated by injuries last year, and they was still in damn near every game, bro. At one point, I think the Ravens might have needed like one more win to get into the playoffs. And they had like 5 games left. And they lost every game by like 2 and 3 points, except when they played us. When they played us, you saw every last one of them injuries because we beat them by like 20 plus. Now, we also beat them by 20 plus the first time we played earlier in the season when they still had Lamar and they still had Marlon Humphrey, but they don't like to talk about that. And I think that was mostly because Wink Martindale's, like, his defensive philosophy, once Burrow figured it out with those blitzes and stuff, it just wasn't going to work. Like, it's not going to work. But, you know, now Wink is gone and, you know, the Ravens on to something else. I think they got the hot shot D coordinator from college, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, this year you're going to get a fully healthy Ravens team. The young players on that defense, like Patrick Queen, has continued to get better. They did lose Anthony Averett, but, you know, again, they got Marlon Humphrey. I think they get Marcus Peters back. And then they signed Marcus Williams, the safety from the Saints. So that was a big deal for them. I think they also got Michael Pierce. Now, they thought they had Za'Darius Smith, and I ain't gonna lie, I was looking at their free agency like, man, they had a good free agency, bro. Kind of hate. But then we look up and Za'Darius Smith was like, I'm not signing that deal, you know? And so that just really kind of threw a wrench into things. But again, we're talking about week 1, man. So many things can happen. He could still end up going there. They could get somebody else. We don't know. So right now, you know, solid week 1 of free agency for the Ravens so far, but they got a lot to figure out. Now, going back to the Steelers, you know, they lose Ben Roethlisberger. Okay. He was, you know, Ben Roethlisberger been washed for multiple years now. At one point, they were linked to Deshaun Watson. I was nervous. At another point, they were linked to Aaron Rodgers. I was shook. But when they ended up with Mitch Trubisky, honestly, I was relieved. Now, that's not to say Mitch Trubisky won't be a better quarterback than what he was with the Bears. He's been in the league for a while now, okay? He sat behind Josh Allen. He might look totally different in the Steelers offense. And when you want to talk about mobility, especially compared to what they had in Roethlisberger, this is actually going to be a big upgrade for them. With that said, you know, Mitch Trubisky, I'm not too concerned because I know, like, if the game is close, he'll make a mistake at the end. Like, he absolutely will. Unlike Roethlisberger, who at his best, every time it was a clutch play that needed to be made, he made it. Like, it was so annoying, man, for years. So I'm assuming he's going to end up being a stopgap for them 1-2 years, and then they'll, you know, until they find somebody else. Now, I did like the Miles Jack and the Levi Wallace pickups, but from the Steelers, honestly, that was about it. Now, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, man. So I already talked about this a little bit in the intro, but the Browns getting Deshaun Watson, that literally changes everything. The whole Baker divorce thing and how terribly they handled that. At the end of the day, for the Cleveland Browns, none of it matters because they got Deshaun. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, would Deshaun be the same? I'm like, bruh, he sit out a year. Like, y'all act like the man was out for 4 years. People get hurt and sit out a year all the time. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's a little bit of rust right at the beginning, but I don't really see any reason why he wouldn't be Deshaun. So honestly, man, none of them over the initial shock. I'm kind of happy for the Browns, even though some, just a small portion of their fans are going to be really obnoxious. But you know, that just kind of come with the territory. I'm the type of person I try not to let that change my behavior. I can say this, the Browns will be fun to watch this year, and I'll definitely be tuning in. As far as the Steelers, bro, oh my God, they have by far the worst quarterback in the division now. And Steelers fans gotta really be side-eyeing that Mitch Trubisky move. Honestly, it seemed okay when the Browns didn't have a quarterback, but now you have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson, and you have Money Mitch. Now, before I end, I want to say Von Miller to the Bills feels like it's being kind of slept on. Like, the Bills are terrifying. That's a terrifying team. All the way to the point that when they was playing against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a terrifying team in their own right, I was pulling for the Chiefs because I ain't want to play the Bills in that next round. And that's just like, you know, matchups. But now they're going to add Von Miller. So yeah, man, the Bills. Yeah. Now the 2022 NFL free agency period still has a long way to go. But through just 1 week of this thing, this has already been like one of, if not the most eventful NFL free agency that NFL fans have ever seen. My name is FlemLo, man. Y'all like the video if y'all like it. I'll holler at y'all boys in the next one.